The Lada Riva VAZ 2107 is one of those cars that carries an entire era on its shoulders. For millions of people across Eastern Europe, the former Soviet Union, and even in parts of the West, this boxy sedan was more than just transportation. It was a symbol of simplicity, durability, and accessibility. Introduced in the early 1980s as a continuation of the Lada lineup, the VAZ 2107, commonly known as the Lada Riva in export markets, became one of the most recognized vehicles produced by AvtoVAZ. It was essentially an evolution of the classic Fiat 124 design, which had been the basis for earlier Lada models like the VAZ 2101. By the time the 2107 rolled out, its squared-off body lines, chrome accents, and updated features made it look more modern and refined compared to its predecessors, even though the fundamental technology remained the same. At first glance, the Lada Riva's design may seem plain and utilitarian, but in its era, it represented a respectable step forward. The squared headlights and chrome grille gave it a slightly more upscale look, aiming to separate it from the base models. Inside, it was still a no-nonsense car with simple controls, hard plastics, and practical upholstery, but compared to the earlier versions, it felt more comfortable and somewhat more refined. For many drivers, the appeal of the Lada Riva was not luxury but its affordability and the fact that it could be repaired easily with basic tools. This was a car built for everyday people, and its parts were widely available and inexpensive, making it a practical choice in regions where high-tech imports were out of reach. Under the hood, the Lada Riva typically came with a range of simple, carbureted inline-4 engines, most commonly 1.2, 1.3, 1.5, and 1.6-liter variants. These engines were not powerful by any means, but they were designed to be robust and easy to fix. Horsepower figures were modest, ranging between 60 and 75 depending on the version, which meant performance was never its strong suit. Still, for the average driver in the Soviet Union or Eastern Europe, the car provided exactly what was needed: reliable transportation that could endure rough roads, harsh winters, and minimal maintenance. The rear-wheel drive layout gave it a traditional driving feel, and while it was never sporty, it was predictable and steady on the road. One of the most remarkable things about the Lada Riva VAZ 2107 is its longevity. Production began in 1982 and continued well into the 2010s in some regions, with millions of units sold across the globe. It became a fixture on the streets of Russia, Ukraine, and many other former Soviet states, as well as being exported to the United Kingdom, Canada, and various parts of Europe. In the UK, it gained a reputation as a cheap and cheerful car, often competing with budget imports from Asia. It was not glamorous, and it never pretended to be, but for a buyer looking for a straightforward vehicle with no unnecessary complications, the Riva was a suitable choice. Culturally, the Lada Riva holds an iconic place in the memory of those who grew up around it. For many families, it was their first car, the vehicle that took them on road trips, family gatherings, and daily commutes. Taxi drivers, police forces, and government institutions also relied on the 2107, which only further cemented its presence in everyday life. In Russia, it became a true people's car, a machine that was always around, always working, and always fixable. Its simplicity became its greatest strength, and even today, enthusiasts appreciate the straightforward mechanics that make it easy to restore and keep running. Of course, the Lada Riva was not without criticism. By the standards of Western Europe or North America, it was outdated almost from the moment it was introduced. Its handling was basic, its safety features minimal, and its styling boxy compared to the aerodynamic shapes emerging in the 1980s. Yet, it was never meant to compete with high-end Western cars. Instead, it served a different purpose, providing affordable mobility to millions of people who otherwise would not have had access to a personal vehicle. In that sense, it achieved its mission flawlessly. Even after production ended, the Lada Riva still lives on in car culture. It has become somewhat of a classic, with enthusiasts appreciating its nostalgic charm. Some modify them into drift cars or rally replicas, while others restore them to original condition as a tribute to their heritage. The car's boxy shape and old-school mechanicals have earned it a cult following, especially among those who grew up riding in one. In recent years, it has even gained attention outside of its original markets as a quirky retro car, appealing to people who want something different from the mainstream. The story of the Lada Riva VAZ 2107 is not about innovation or performance but about endurance, accessibility, and cultural impact. It was never the fastest, the most comfortable, or the most stylish car, but it was one of the most important for the people it served. For decades, it provided reliable and affordable transportation across vast regions of the world, and its presence on the roads shaped daily life for millions. Today, when many look back at the Riva, they see not just a car but a piece of history, a reminder of simpler times when vehicles were built to be straightforward, practical, and long-lasting. The Lada Riva VAZ 2107 will always be remembered as more than just a car. It was a companion in the everyday lives of countless drivers, and for that reason, its legacy will never fade.